Welcome to Channel AMEC, your insight to the Australian visa system. Good day everyone, my name is Carl Young, your registered migration agent. Today I would like to share this video in detail of explanation of the business talent visa, which is under the subclass of 132. It's not a very common visa used, but have been receiving numbers of inquiry in regards to getting more detail about this type of visa. So as commonly practiced, I will take you right into the Australian Department of Immigration's website and explain it in detail. So let's get in there. Now, this is the Australian Department of Home Affairs. As you can see, subclass 132 under the business talent bracket, permanent visa. What does it mean? So it means once you're lodged and granted, you will get a permanent residency of Australia straight away, rather than having a temporary business visa where they require you to demonstrate establishment and business success in Australia. So this is not relevant. However, it doesn't mean that you can dodge and not to actually commit into the investment and genuine intention into business activity in Australia. But provided you have a very high yield business background, and there are two streams. So one is what they call significant business history, and the other one is the venture capital entrepreneurial stream, so VC entrepreneurial. So what's the differences? Now, one is that you obviously show you have an extensive business history and past business records or careers by means of providing business activities showing that your business has been turning over of at least $3 million per annum, and also have a business asset of over 400k Aussie dollars. Then you'll be able to get into this SBH stream. Now the R1, the VC stream, is a bit difficult because in a general rule of thumb is that you were required to demonstrate that you have a business idea which is capable to be commercialized and be able to accepted by a venture capital fund to actually put your business listed in that fund to attract investment into your business. So that's even harder, but it's not impossible. So people who is in a innovative software developments and ideas, R&D, it's very likely to get into that this stream. And as you can see, it doesn't really require much in there. Any of the past records, it doesn't require in there. Now let's get into the first one, the significant business history. Now, eligibility, obviously you are required to be nominated. So how do you get nominated? Very easy. All you need to do, as you see in the website, you need to go to whatever the state that you wish to pursue your future business venture to be, and go in there. And generally they all require the minimal investment requirement under the Department of Immigration's criteria, which is $1.5 million. Some states may change, and bear in mind the upcoming 1st of July a renew of fiscal year of Australia. Some state may have some changes, so basically just go in there to have a glimpse. Now if you do need professional help, no problem, leave your message. We'll be able to assist you with that as well. Now secondly, have business acumen and ambition. Of course, as a business career and business success businessman, of course you need to show your ambition. So the first thing you need to show that you have a successful business career. Obviously, no problem. That means in the application you're required to declare and disclose whether or not you have been in any type of bankruptcies or any type of business activity that was not categorized or seemed to be successful. You have to show that. So there's generally applicants won't have that kind of issue. Now, genuine desire to own and manage a business in Australia. So obviously, the state will want you to actually invest whatever the business that's they give you a big tick into Australia. So the minimum will be, as you can see, it's going to be $1.5 million. Now, to show that you have owned a substantial part of business, so obviously as a business significant business history, that you need to demonstrate by providing audited financial statements of 2 fiscal year of the previous 4 years before you get invited. So you can pick the best 2, okay, or if you like, you can provide the full 4 years or even more to actually show your ownership in the business. Now, the net assets and the $1.5 million. So obviously the business and personal asset, that including you and your spouse, has to be above 1.5. That's pretty obvious, because the aim is for you to actually invest 1.5 to Australia. So if you don't even have 1.5, how do you invest 1.5? Okay, so you need to demonstrate that, and the key here is that you have to show that it's a lawfully acquired. So what does it mean? So you're whatever the dividend or profit that you may or gain, has to be tax declared and tax clear, okay? And it cannot be some sort of money that coming from gambling and things like that, or obviously not a money laundered fund here, okay? Now, business itself, it has to show that it has been turning $3 million Aussie dollars per annum for that 2 years that you nominated and lodged that documentation to be there. Now, ownership obviously has to be above 30%. Now, if it's a public listed company, you're required to own at least 10% of the company. Now, the first one we can disregard that, because it's not possible that you have a turnover less than 400k, because here, as you can see, you're required to show that you have more than $3 million of turnover. Now, the hard part here is the 400k. Now, it does seem to be less, but it's actually a net asset, meaning that the business financial, the balance sheet, you gotta look at the total equity. That means the gross minus whatever the liability that the business has, and still have that 400k. So it generally comes back to whether or not the company or the business does own any properties, or it has amount of stocks that's worth that kind of amount. So obviously that's required. That is why we need an audited financial statement from the auditor to actually state that the company does own such asset in there. Now, English, obviously, if you don't have a functional English, you could basically, there will be a second visa charge you require to be paid, bill of age of less than 55, health and character. Okay, now let's go to the other stream, the VC stream. Okay, now the VC stream is actually, it doesn't have any age. You don't have to demonstrate that there is a business career or background or financial statement, tax documentation. None of that is required. The hard part here is the business idea to be accepted by a venture capital fund of Australia, and then it's been listed in that fund to actually attract a minimum of $1 million into that fund or company or project. Then you'll be eligible to actually lodge this visa and gain that permanent residency. So again, it has to be nominated, so that page is exactly the same. Generally, all the states will accept them. Okay, the business acumen and ambitions, obviously, here is a bit different. It has to have direct and continuous involvement of day-to-day management of eligible business. Well, of course, because if the project is yours, you will have that direct and continuous involvement, substantial ownerships of the business or the projects. So obviously, our recommendation is about 30%, just to make that previous page that you have seen there. Now, here we go, the meet our venture capital requirement. Now, secure at least $1 million Australian dollar fund into a high value business idea. Okay, so that's just what I was talking about. Now, the project or the idea listed under the VC has to attract at least 1 million Aussie dollars into that fund there and enter into an enforceable agreement with the Australian venture capital firm or fund that means been listed in the actual VC. So how do we find that AFCAL, the venture Australian Private Equity and Venture Capital Association Limited, or Australian Investment Council? Okay, so basically it's this page here. So if you type in AIC, you actually land yourself into this page, the Australian Investment Council. Now, the VC fund has to be listed in here. And how do we find them? It's actually right here. And we go to membership. And there's a member directory. So obviously, the Australian immigration will likely to come into this page and just punching into whatever the venture capital fund you have, because you can't generally just have someone name themselves and accept your project and accept the fund. That won't work. It has to be some venture capital fund management company in here. So I'd like to punch in one of my good mates fund here. Here we go. So it does show here. And once we clicked it, it's actually listed in as a membership of Australian Investment Council. So that then qualifies the immigration requirement of this criteria here. Okay, so and the rest of it is the same as previous. So basically that explains to you the subclass 132 visa, the business talent visa. So is it actually meant it actually has a person had that kind of talent. Either the talent has been categorized into two streams. One is you have a significant business history, and the other one is you have extreme idea, a very innovative idea that can be commercialized and is likely to be accepted by a venture capital fund to be listed inside of that fund and to attract at least $1 million into the fund. Then you'll be eligible to actually gain permanent residency there. Okay, so that's the video for the business talent visa today. Now, if you do have any query or questions, feel free to leave a comment below. And if you do like our channel, make sure you go to our Facebook and put a thumbs up in there, and also our YouTube channel, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and also put that little tick with that little bell beside it. So when we got any news or any other visa opportunities to be announced, you'll be the first one to actually obtain them. Okay, so that's for the video today. Thank you. Bye.